Hello and welcome back to the port. I'm the Gareth Major, and this is a review of the United States Tier 7 Premium Battleship USS Georgia, available as the end reward of the Georgia on My Mind campaign. Obviously she's locked behind advertising backing, which will cost you 2,500 doubloons. Apart from that, you just got to complete the campaign with blood, sweat and tears. So this is a Tier 7 and Legendary game of Domination on Steam Giant, but we do have a random Tier 6 in there. So we have a Kagera, a Gearing, a Chapayev, a Gneisenau, a Bismarck, a Vanguard, a Georgia, a Yamato and a Lexington. Spawned on the right, and we're going to see how things go, I guess you could say. Obviously the Yamato's over there, which is good to know, because the Yamato's the most dangerous ship in the game for a battleship, I guess you could say. So Georgia is a representation of one of the fast battleship designs. In this case, she's equipped with 457mm guns and capable of doing 33 knots. Whereas, as the design eventually led on, it led towards the Iowa class at the end of the day. But this is just one of the concepts which was along the way, I guess you could say. So, as always, in comparison to the Tier 7 Tech Tree battleships, we'll start off with the survivability. So she has the second lowest base HP of only 63,000, and the third lowest HP pool, in this case it's 89,376. Obviously that's all adjustable, subject to commander builds and inspirations and other things like that. Now she has the fourth lowest torpedo reduction, which is only 26%, and when it comes to the armour, it's always best to go back to the board and have a look at the armour scheme there. So here we are back in the port, taking a look at the armour scheme of the Georgia. I guess it's always best to start off the usual place, and that'll be the superstructure. So this gives you an idea how large the superstructure is. It is quite a chunky superstructure really at the end of the day, and therefore it does mean that it can be harvested with low caliber AP and also high explosives. So that's something to bear in mind. She's going to suffer with that same kind of issue that the Iowa does, where she's going to have a lot of her HP assigned to her superstructure, and therefore she can be hurt quite a lot by simply targeting the superstructure. Taking that away, and that just leaves us with the main armoured hull and the turrets and barbettes, I guess you could say. So starting off, we have a bit of torpedo protection, but torpedo protection is, well, just torpedo protection really. As you can see, pretty much covers the central half of the ship, I guess you could say, with only the ends, the bow and the stern not being covered by it. So that's something just to bear in mind if you're taking torpedo damage. Now when we take that away, you can then see we have some hefty armour hidden underneath there. Going on to the bow and the stern, this is basically 32mm plating, which is pretty sound really. Same with the deck as well. Now what this does mean is that a Georgia can't overmatch a Georgia, but we'll talk about what the overmatch capabilities are of the Georgia when we talk about the artillery. But what this does mean is she can pretty much angle herself against 406s and also 457s, but she can't angle against 460s. So taking those away, starting to look a bit more into the depths of the ship. First of all, we got obviously the upper armoured belt and the deck armour, 38mm here and also on the deck as well. So it also means you do have the potential to skip off those high caliber shells. Removing that, actually assigns to that as well. Looks like a large chunk of your lower armoured belt. Now this is obviously a lot thicker, looking at about 340mm, 310mm. That's quite substantial really, so that's quite interesting. Now taking that away, we can now see the barbettes. Now this is quite intriguing. The barbette armour and the turret armour, obviously it's quite thick as expected, but the barbettes actually do get a little bit thinner as they go further down. We're down to 76mm. Obviously that's not going to have much of a change on your gameplay, and it's all down to RNG when it comes to the turrets, but it's interesting just to note that. Removing that, and that just leaves us with the citadel. Wow, look at that, perfectly level with the water line. So that means it's nicely hidden, I guess you could say. Intriguingly, that means shells are going to be coming through the top armor. If we look at that, it's not that amazing. We've got some 16mm in the center, and we have got some 25mm on either ends of the deck. So potentially that means shells that do get in through your main armoured belt, I guess you could say. the Citadel's not going to put up a lot of resistance, especially that central part. The ends of the Citadel obviously is quite nicely armoured, 260mm there, that's quite nice. At the stern it's a slightly different story, so maybe you don't want to be getting punched through the stern if up close, I guess you could say maybe. But yeah, there's the Georgia, which is a quite intriguing little ship, I have to confess, and she does come with a very pretty camo, and she looks very nice. Anyway, let's go back to the game. Welcome back. Just before we go into the artillery, it's worth noting that the two enemy destroyers are both been spotted over at Charlie, so that means that when I come around this corner, I don't really have too much in the way of to be concerned in regards to a destroyer suddenly appearing next to me. So I think I'm going to have a little dabble in the Alpha objective and get that capped before I maybe break out and see what's going on. So when it comes to the artillery, you have 6 number 18-inch guns in 3 dual gun turrets. We have A turret and B turret super firing up front, and then we have Y turret at the rear. Talking more about the guns, obviously the other ship in the game with 18-inch guns is the Yamato, but there's a slight difference. With the Georgia, she's got 457mm guns, whereas the Yamato has 460mm guns. This makes the difference in regards to the overmatch mechanic. In regards to this mechanic, the Georgia can overmatch 31mm of armour, whereas the Yamato can only overmatch 32mm of armour. So what this means is obviously the Yamato can overmatch practically everything in the game, whereas the Georgia, obviously her overmatching is slightly limited, especially in regards to tier 7 battleships. So she can overmatch all tier 7 cruisers. When it comes to battleships, she can pretty much punch through the nose of all tier 6 battleships, but she can't punch through any of the noses of the tier 7 battleships, I should say. I'm getting myself all muddled while I'm being confused by all these targets and trying to work out what the hell they're all doing. Anyway, so with these guns, they do have the third shortest range, or just below average range, I guess you could say, which is 17.2 kilometers. Now they do have the second fastest reload, which is 26 seconds, and the joint second slowest turret reverse, which is 45 seconds per 180 degrees of rotation. Now, when it comes to the shells, you have the second highest HE shell damage of 6,450 and the highest fire chance of 43%. You also have the highest AP shell damage, which in this case is 15,750. Whoa. Now we've actually gone and done what a destroyer would normally do, which is go cap something. We might now see if we can actually play a battleship this game. At least that's what we're going to hope for. We're finding a gap in the irons here, which is rather advantageous, so we're going to take that. And then we're going to use one of our 2 engine boosts to try and get out of here nice and quickly. Now when it comes to the DPM, obviously you've got fast reload, you've got hard hitting guns, so the thing that's going to let you down is number of guns. So you have the third worst HE DPM, joint second lowest fires per minute, and the fourth lowest AP DPM. Yeah, we should be clear. Now when it comes to the manoeuvrability, it's quite good really, I could say. She's the fastest at 33 knots as her base speed. She also has a just above average turning circle of 890 meters and a just above average rudder shift of 16.5 seconds. Another advantageous situation here, so we might as well see if we can take it. Nice. Now the Gneisenauer does have torpedoes, so we're not exactly super excited about closing in against the Gneisenauer, so we will probably put ourselves at a nice acute angle and see if we can draw the Gneisenauer up to brawl against us. Now you have, concealment wise, that's what we need to start talking about. You have the second worst across the board. You have the second worst detectability at sea, which is 15.5 kilometers. You also have the second worst by air, which is 12.4 kilometers, and you also have the second worst with fire and smoke, which is 15 yeah, 15 kilometers on the nose. Talk about on the nose. Let's see what we can do here. Now, when it comes to the consumables, obviously you have 3 repair parties. These will heal 314 HP per second for 28 seconds, which means each repair party will recover you 8,792 HP. Now it's time to make a little bit of a move out of here, because obviously Gneisenauer's got torpedoes, and our original plan of being at an acute angle obviously didn't quite work. But we can take a little bit of a slapping, that's fine. Now, you also have the standard American damage control party. Ooh. Which has a 20-second duration and a 80-second reload. Now you've also, let's see, now we know the upper nose of the Gneisenau we can actually overmatch. So that's something to remember, guys. If Gneisenau starts to battle tank you, you can just aim for the upper nose. You don't want to aim for the lower nose, because that's going to be where the icebreaker is. So just the upper nose. And there you go, that's how you get rid of Gneisenau in a Georgia. Now, you do have 2 engine boosts, and these will improve your speed by 8% for 180 seconds, taking your base speed up to 35.64 knots. This also has a 180-second reload. Now, for your remaining consumable, you've got some choices. You can have 3 catapult fighters, or 3 spotter aircraft, like I have, or 3 enhanced secondary targeting boosters, I guess you could say. Now, as always, down in the description will be the commander build and the modules. In this case, I've taken AA Guns Module 2, Steering Gears Module 2, Target Acquisition Systems Module 1, and Artillery Plotting Ring Module 2. Now, it's worth noting that she has a nice Type 9 permanent camouflage, which obviously is nice and pretty. And obviously, being a permanent camouflage means you don't have to use any consumable camouflages in order to take her out into a game. So, while we continue this game, it seems to be going as per pretty much all my other Georgia games that I've been trying to record these reviews in. We seem to roll over the enemy team, and I don't seem to get too much into the action, I guess you could say. It seems to be the story of this night. This is the 4th game in which I've done not a lot of damage, and probably... Oh, well, I've come 3rd. Okay, I'll take that. Most of the evening I've been doing about between 50 and 70,000 damage and coming about 5th or 6th on the team, because our whole team just does very well in rolling over the enemy team, and there's barely any points between last place and 1st place. So yeah, 78,000 damage, 1 kill, 1 citadel, 30 hits on target, shot down 1 plane and got 11 secondary hits, and also got a solo capture. That's not something you get often in a battleship. Well, unless you're me. Team results, okay, I managed to come 3rd, but as you can see, there's not a lot of points between bottom place and 1st place. There's, what is it? It's 300 points, give or take. It just seems to be this is how this evening's going. It's like I'm getting put on teams which are doing very, very well, which is obviously good. The issue is they're being put up against teams which are just not doing very, very well, and you can see in the end team that the only ship that probably had a nice runaway score was really their Yamato. Economy-wise, ship service cost 153,000 credits, so obviously it's not a reduced service cost, but she does have an increased credit earning potential. In this case, with a premium count and a rare credit booster, been able to walk away with a profit of 117,000 credits. Not amazing, but then with a game like this, there's not much you can really talk about, I guess you could say. So yeah, if you have enjoyed this live review, feel free to give it a thumbs up, and if you enjoy this content, feel free to subscribe. If you are subscribed, let's say thank you very much, and also let's say thank you to the patrons. You can support the channel on Patreon, link is down in the description. It is a non-monetized channel, along with the email address for the channel in the description if you want to send in any of your own game captures for the community spotlight video. Down there is also the modules and the commander build. And if you are a patron, your lovely names will be appearing on the end screen. Until next time, I'm the Gareth Major, and back to the port.
Hey, hey, clear the way, here comes the galloping major. Bumpity, 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 bump. Get out of the way there, you fellows. Unless you want me to run you down. I guess this is the life. Now, hey, hey, clear the way. Here comes the galloping